Hey everybody, what's up? I am back, and it is time for Chapter 5 of the Path of Radiance hard mode draft, and thankfully this chapter's got a defense objective, which means that everyone's going to have the same turn count, so if things go my way, I'll still probably have at least a slight lead, at least in this point in the draft, and thankfully, with the advent of Oscar, I have no need this chapter to meat shield, or incur penalties for any reason, because masterfully my tactical genius has allowed me to wall off the two squares that they need to get past me. And sure, I don't get the defense bonus offered by the throne slash gate, whatever you want to call it. Take so many different names. I switched the positions of those two here as well because Oscar was having trouble doubling those soldiers coming up, and if anything, it would allow me to get levels for Oscar or kills easier for Oscar when I needed them, instead of just having them sit there and soak up experience, or soak up hits rather. I'd rather get some experience out of this because Oscar is still level 5, I believe, and I wanted to be a lot higher for Chapter 7. And Chapter 6 for that matter, because Chapter 6 isn't exactly easy, and the more powerful you are, the way easier, or the far easier that will become, especially to anyone else who doesn't have Oscar or some other unit. I have the advantage here in these early chapters, I feel, with the only mounted unit in the game that is usable in combat, so, and as you'll see it later on, he's pretty beastly in terms of stats. I've had better, but I've had better for most of every character in the game so far in this run. But I digress. The thing here is tricky use of Reese as well later on. He's, as opposed to, once again, it wouldn't save me any turns, but it does grant me more experience to have Reese eventually heal. But the only thing preventing me from doing that are these archers, the two archers you can see. One's adjacent to Ike and another one is 2 squares below him, and the way I saw it, those were my prime targets so far, so getting rid of them early on was going to be a great help, as it would allow me to heal with Reese easier. There's only 2 of them, and I think those are the only enemies in the chapter, at least that would get reasonably close to me, or pose a great threat in terms of me healing. Were those 2 archers there, and I only have one, and just knowing it, looking at the defense early on before the chapter started, Reese can take 1 hit, and if anything, I can just use a vulnerary when he's not healing or anything, which is fine, because I'm kind of weaning myself off. I don't have any real use for vulneraries anymore. My units are getting pretty good defense and just dodging attacks a lot more thanks to their higher stats, but this was the only real disadvantage of having Oscar take the top, was that the soldiers come up there. Ike had a much easier time. Granted, Oscar is still doubling, but in this position, I felt it was most advantageous, as Oscar gets a decent level up, 2 stats that I wanted and 1 that was kind of filler, but it allows Ike to also help out Oscar with chip damage and stuff, and just finishing off, really, the fighters and stuff that I tried to attack next to him, so. It was a pretty decent help, especially knowing that Oscar is kind of getting demolished, but I digress, it's fine. I don't believe I take out the archer, or if I do, yeah, I do. This allows me to have Reese possibly heal again, and it takes another potential threat out, which is great. Oscar unfortunately can't double with the steel lance. He doesn't have high enough strength yet. I believe that's the only real factor holding him back is his low strength, but he's only level 6, so I can deal with that. And just due to the archer's presence there, I'd have to use a vulnerary, which, like I said before, doesn't really hurt my turn count whatsoever. But I would have preferred to just not use it and go for some more, battle experience. But I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I get bonus experience within 3 chapters, and that'll be a great help. Bonus experience is pretty broken, but you get less of it on hard mode, so you can't really complain that much. Thankfully, Ike's handling himself very well. He's dodging a lot of these lance attacks, which is just wonderful. I wasn't sure, I couldn't remember on hard mode at least, if killing the boss would end the chapter, and I know that he's pretty far down there, so I couldn't remember if it was doing that, but I guess it really didn't matter, because by the time I got down there, I would have had to meet shield with Titania, and I really didn't want to lose all that experience out on it just by losing a chance of attack with her, so that was just pointless. I was pretty much content with chilling here and what, you know, defending the objective like the tryhard that I am. Just kind of viewing some more stats here. Like I said, this is a matter of me doubling, or me figuring out if I double it, but it turns out that these fighters will have like 0 speed because they can't wield a steel axe well at all, and due to that, that was mostly what I was doing my calculations for, was to see if Oscar could still double after rescuing Reese. I didn't care much about the avoid loss. He wasn't gonna die this turn anyway, so still doubling and still doing respectable damage and killing them, which is wonderful. Although that was, I guess, a deficit of doing that, was the speed, or not the speed, the skill deficit. Now, considering my Oscar has pretty shitty skill to begin with. At this point, currently, he's level 20, and right before promotion, actually, and he has 9 skill. So that's offset, though. He has 17 strength, skill, and strength, speed, and defense. So I'll take it. I mean, I generally don't have much problem hitting things anyway, so especially after promotes, it'll be fine. But in this rate, I think it's the last turn. I could be wrong, but he has or no, it's 5th turn. He has no issues doubling still, which is just wonderful. And just kind of playing cleanup here. I don't really need to get any risky moves going on. I don't really need to move out. Or I could have probably just positioned Ike farther down to see if there were any more units down there, and just walled with Titania, but there was no point. I didn't really. Too lazy, I guess. I mean, Ike's already over leveled. Debate. I mean, having Ike be level 20 is a good thing and a bad thing. Because the more you use him, the more you're stealing experience away. Because I'm gonna have units like Kiran and Oscar, or not Oscar, Liana, within a few chapters. And yeah. So I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.